Here we're looking at the process of triangulation. Now, it's something we've spoken about across all of your teachers about how to do this, but I'm actually going to show you how you would go about triangulating notes. Because your plan for this week is a consolidation week. So Miss Jones is going to set you some exam style questions and I'm going to set you triangulation. So this is going back through the last 3 weeks of work, so 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, and adding in additional information from the 3 textbooks. We're really lucky that we have 3 textbooks in geography. Some subjects only have 1. But it does mean that they all present the same information in slightly different ways. So when we plan your lessons, we often use one textbook as a focus, use the other textbooks to complement the work that we do. For this work, to make it a bit simpler, what we've done is we've focused on using the Oxford textbook. So we've decided that actually this is one of the best textbooks to use for you guys. So you have 1 point of reference and 1 point of call. And then you can bring in additional information if you need to. So you'll see on the screen that I have taken screenshots of sections of each of those 3 textbooks. So the Pearson textbook, Oxford textbook, and Hodder textbook. What I have then done is I've taken a print screen of the work that you were given. I've used a student's work here. And you'll notice that I gave you the definition of what is globalisation. But actually, there are a number of different ways that globalisation can be defined. So first of all, I'm going to do this in a kind of clockwise fashion. So the Oxford textbook, what does it say? So what I would do is I would have a read through there and I'd think about the information that actually I might want to include. So I've had a look. Okay, what have I got? Right, so that's similar. That's not similar. Okay, that's a bit different. So I'd make a summary of that. And here's one I prepared earlier. What I've done there is I've added in a summary of what the Oxford textbooks has. I'm not going to repeat the same information. I'm going to try and use different sources to get that information, which is why we call it triangulation, because it's 3 separate textbooks. So the Hodder textbook here, if I have a look at this definition, what is globalisation, that's exactly the same as the one you have written there. So you don't need to write that. You could write the World Bank definition, but personally, I think it's a bit waffly. It's very similar to the video that you watched at the start, the HSBC video. So I wouldn't really need to include that. Again, if I look at the Hodder textbook, I think, okay, I've seen this diagram somewhere before. Yep, I've already included that in my work later on, so I don't need to add that. So for that section, you don't actually need to add anything from the Hodder textbook because you've already got the information from the Oxford, and Hodder you've got written somewhere else. So triangulation isn't about just doing more work, it's about being smart about the information that you choose. Finally then, we have the Pearson textbook. The Pearson textbook is laid out slightly differently to the other textbooks in the sense that the introduction section is at the front and it's kind of the first 2 pages. And if I'd have a read through there, I try and look for information that isn't the same. And I think, okay, what can I add? So I simply add that information in. On the next slide, I have an example of a student 13 and what they did for their triangulation. So they would have their classwork notes separate and they would, after a lesson, go through the triangulation process as well as their notes, and they have typed up their own information. Another way you can do this is if you have written the information, you can do annotations, so small arrows with different points that you have got from the different textbooks. It's completely up to you how you decide to triangulate. We will just need to see some evidence of that in your work next week.